Welcome to another segment of the Spurfic Prediction coming to you from the Spursiverse. And today you can call me Spurstradamus because this is where I make more and better prediction than an English weatherman and a Mystic Meg combined. And so today I'm making another bold prediction about a new kid on the block. His name? Destiny Udogie. And my question about and my prediction around Destiny Udogie revolves around this question. Will he become a top class or a world class left back? And will he even do it while he's at Spurs? And just so you know, and just to give you a bit of an insight, why am I asking this question? Well, I think Destiny Udogie has what it takes to be a world class centre back. No, well, who knows? But I think he has the potential to be a world class left back. And this guy's just come on the block, but I've been so impressed with him. And just looking at some of his attributes and his game to date, I think he's got what it takes, man. I really do. But before going into that prediction, let's take a look at Destiny Udogie's profile, some of his playing attributes and his qualities and his club career up to date, and just see why I believe that Destiny Udogie is destined to be a top class left back. Let's get into it. So, Destiny Udogie is only 20 years of age. This is the impressive thing for me. He's only 20. He's actually going to be 21 in November. He stands at 6'2". Obviously, he plays left back, and he's actually from Italy, a place called Verona, right? And he made his professional debut 3 weeks short of his 18th birthday for Verona in November 2020. So just think about that for a second. The guy has just come on the block, and his rise, even to this moment in time, has been quite rapid. And he went on to make 5 more appearances in his debut season for Verona in 2020 in a 2-2 draw away to Milan. There's another parallel here, which I'm going to get to in a minute. So he had a 2-2 draw in his first debut for Milan, his professional debut, not for Milan, against Milan for Verona. And that was in 2020, so this is nearly 3 years ago. Then he joined Udinese on loan with an obligation to buy in the following season, the 2021 season to 2022, right? And he made 37 appearances, primarily as a left wing back, and he scored 5 goals. That's not bad for probably then an 18-year-old left wing back, Serie A. Not bad. 37, 5 goals, not too shabby, I'd say. And then following that season, that's when we jumped in and signed Destiny Udogie on a permanent deal until 2027. And we immediately loaned him back to Udinese in that same season. And he went on to have some impressive performances there. And then obviously this season he's made his Spurs debut in the away game to Brentford, another 2-2 draw there, ironically. And that is his club career to date. So he's had a very short career, and he hasn't really, quote-unquote, done anything to suggest anything more than what any other person just turning pro might have done to suggest, well, where's this world-class or top-class left-back claim coming from after such, limited experience and, match time? Well, we'll get into that in a second. So let's just look at some of Destiny Udogie's attributes. So he is a left-back, and for my money, he covers the defensive and the offensive phases of a play exceptionally well, right? So this is not a guy, in my opinion, who's going to be mugged off on the pitch very easily. He's going to be hard to overcome when you push him back. In other words, not many people are going to get the better of him pushing him back from a defensive standpoint. So you're going to need to be a very tricky and elusive winger to get the best of him on a routine basis. So I think he's defensively sound. And then going forward, I think he's very aggressive. He's very good in the offensive phase. He's good at getting balls into the box. He's good at crossing. He generally picks out his man. And he's quite good at evading tackles, receiving the ball under pressure. And he's just a very good physical specimen. So at 6'2", he's got all the physical attributes, the pace, the power, the strength. So the ability on the ball, both in terms of receiving under pressure and the ability to play the ball out from the back or play into the final third and play 1-2s and do overlaps and things like that. I think he does all of these things very well. So for my money, he's got the fundamentals of a left back down to a T. And to do it at such a young age is quite impressive. Now, let's say this. I wasn't familiar with Destiny Udogie until he came to Spurs. So for me to have this kind of view of him, for me, says, I think he's a special talent. I think he's a special talent. And it would suggest to me that to go from Verona, making his debut at 17, to then go into Udinese on loan and to find himself at Spurs, which is a top 6 Premier League club, or even a top 4 team when Spurs purchased him. That just means that you got to have a lot about you, and you got to have a lot of talent to make that rise. That rise is quite meteoric, So I think it says a lot about him in terms of his development and his attributes for him to be where he is. He's quite accurate with his passing, and he's got 2 assists already this season. And so what his short career shows me already is, he got 5 goals in his second season as a pro, making 37 appearances. He's a goal threat. He is a goal threat. And this season he's got 2 assists. I watched a game with him in the pre-season, and he got a header at the front post. Very good flick-on header, obviously because he's got that size and height. So I just think that when he develops, man, he's going to be a handful. So he attacks space very well. He has the ability to lose a marker, and defensively his positioning and recovery and 1 versus 1s, from what I've seen, they've been pretty good. So he is definitely one to watch, to keep your eye on. So, but when we're talking about top class or world class left backs, we need to have a benchmark here. So who is the benchmark for world class top class left backs? For my money, we're looking at Maldini, which is a good comparison for him as well, because obviously he's an Italian international, and so if Italy decide to get their groove back on the international scene, I think he can fill that role that Maldini did as a left back. Now Maldini will go down as one of the greatest, if not the greatest, left back, and I think he can emulate Maldini from a left back perspective, right? In terms of, can his talent take him to that place? I think his talent can take him. Whether he does is another matter, but I think he's got the talent to get there. Then we've got Roberto Carlos. Some might say Roberto Carlos might be the greatest left back, and certainly from an attacking standpoint, hard to argue. And I think he's got the attacking ability. See, I think he's got the defensive and the attacking ability of both of these guys combined. And then obviously we've got other people like Ashley Cole. I always say Ashley Cole was an underrated left back. I think he's one of the top left backs, certainly to come out of England and probably around the world, honestly. He doesn't probably beat those 2 I just mentioned, but I think he's in the conversation. So we've got him, Roberto Carlos, Maldini. You can even throw in Lizarazu as well, the French international. These were top left backs, and I think he's got the talent to match, if not exceed, these players. So that's a comparison in terms of some of the greatest in the modern era. And then we've got current left backs right now who, there'll be many opinions on this, and I would like to hear your opinion on this. But we've got Alphonso Davies for Bayern Munich. Great left back. I think he's a Canadian international. Great left back. We've got Jordi Alba, who I think is a good left back. Spain international. He used to play for Barcelona. I think he's at Inter Milan now. Again, very good quality left back. I'm not saying he's world class, but he's played at the highest level for some of the biggest clubs, and so you'd have to throw those kind of names into the conversation. We've got Cancelo, the Man City guy, left back, who was at Bayern last year on loan, and now he's gone to Barcelona on loan this season. I think Cancelo's a great left back, to be honest with you. He might be one of the best ones currently playing. I think, whilst I probably think he is better than Udogie at this point, but he's got more experience and stuff over him and other attributes that Udogie doesn't have. Do I think Udogie can be in that conversation in a few years' time with this guy? Yes. And then we've got someone like Ben Chilwell, Luke Shaw. These are guys who, I'm not saying that they're world class or top class, but they probably would be considered some of the best, and Andy Robertson. They'll be considered some of the best left backs in this country, at least, that are operating there at the moment. And so I think he can be better than all of them. So then for me, that puts him in the conversation then for one of the best left backs in the world. So when I put all of that together, I think he's got a bright future. And I'm glad he's at Spurs. I think he would develop at Spurs under Ange as well. And I wouldn't be surprised to see this young man in the next 4 or 5 years. Bearing in mind, the next 4 or 5 years, he'll be 25. And if he's playing at Spurs' level now, you know, I can see some of the big boys coming in for him, at least being interested in him. He might be one of those left backs who go for 150 million in about 5 years' time. And we have a history of fullbacks as well. So we had, not too long ago, we had obviously Kyle Walker. Now, Kyle Walker was a very good right back. He developed more at Spurs because we got him from Sheffield United. And then Man City took him. He's obviously gone on to become a world-class right back. We had Danny Rose, who didn't probably quite hit the same heights as Kyle Walker in his career. But at one point, Danny Rose, now I didn't ever think he was a great left back, but he certainly, in tandem with Kyle Walker, he certainly took his talent to his fullest level. And, you know, he became a very good left back. But we had Gareth Bale, who obviously then went on to be pushed forward and then became a beast in the forward, but we brought him as a left back. I think he can and will develop with Spurs and become a top left back. And if he left Spurs and went to some of the elite clubs like Real Madrid, Barcelona, or he went even to, dare I say, a Man City at this point who have elite managers and players at this present moment in time, I think he can be an elite left back for sure. I do. And that is my prediction. I'm predicting that he is going to be this left back. So, mark my words. I think he will eclipse some of those players that I've mentioned earlier, whether it's Maldini, Carlos, Ashley Cole. I think he will eclipse at least one of them. So, anyway, I think he's got everything and more. So, and if he goes on to do it at international level with Italy, so he's playing with a strong nation as well, eventually, historically, then I think he can. So that's my prediction. I think Destiny Udogie is destined to become a world-class left-back. Whether that's at Spurs remains to be seen, but irrespective, he will get there via Spurs. And so, that's my prediction. That's my bold prediction. What do you think? Do you think I'm reaching? Do you think I'm getting a bit too excited? There's not enough data in the bank to make that assessment. But this is one of the best things about predictions. Sometimes is making predictions. When you've got all the information at hand, sure, you should make a better prediction. But the best predictions are the ones where you've got few bits of information, but you're able to take those information and put a picture together and see the future that very few people see. And that's the future I'm painting for you guys. Destiny Udogie will be a top left back. But I want to know, do you see what I see? And I want to know, what do you see in Destiny Udogie? And actually, if there's any more other predictions that you would like to do around the Spurs and the Spursyverse, please let me know and drop it in the comments below. Until next time, come on you Spurs, please like and subscribe.